to my lovely supporters. I wanted to bring you guys a new moon in Virgo reading because I am not doing any personal readings today, so I might have a little bit more energy to give to this because child, I've been burnt out. I want to do some more YouTube videos coming up, but I'll have some more coming actually that I'm planning with other people. But honey child, I'm burnt out right now. I've been doing like 4 to 6 readings a day. Trav would need a break for herself to revitalize her energy, you know, all that good shit. But I did want to bring you guys this new moon in Virgo reading to help you gauge the energy, what you should keep in mind, what advice Spirit has for you in order to get you through this next lunar transition. So let's just go ahead and get into the reading and not waste any time, okay? And today I'm going to be reading from the New Orleans Voodoo deck. This is like my favorite deck. A lot of people ask me about this deck. This is the deck. This is the book that comes with it. It's worn and torn with me because I put love into my shit, but I need to go ahead and buy me a new one. Because, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and buy me a new deck of these soon. I love these cards. This is what I use mainly to read people. And then today, I'm going to give you an oracle card from this deck, which is the Inner Child cards, a fairy tale tarot. I'm gonna pull one card from that to tie up the reading in the end. Just because I bought these cards and I use them. I use these personally for myself a lot of times on some days, but I'm gonna use them for you guys today. So we're gonna get into the reading and see what Spirit has to say for us for this new moon in Virgo. Iced coffee, 2 cups a day. I'm telling you, like 1 or 2 cups a day be keeping me going. I'm a caffeine addict. I don't even think the caffeine really necessarily works for me anymore. I just think the taste of it does something to my brain. Anyway, let's get into the reading. Spirit, we come to you on behalf of the collective. We ask for the highest good of all those involved with harm to none. We ask for clarity. We ask for clear perception. We ask, what is it that the collective, oops, a card popped up, needs to know most at this time with the moon, the new moon in Virgo? What is it that we need to keep in mind? Any advice, anything underlying on the subconscious that needs to be brought to our attention that we should keep in mind to use the best of this energy at this time with the moon in this lunar phase? I call in the assistance of my Egun and any other benevolent spirits that wish to communicate through this reading. Again, we ask for the highest good of all those involved, and we ask, how can we make the best of the energy with the lunar phase being a new moon in Virgo? All right. I have a feeling I know what popped out too. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. How did this pop out? Should have known it. First of all, this is what popped out. This has been a really popular card for us over the past week or two in my individual readings as well as in the collective readings. Legba la flambeau. First of all, Papa Legba, he's the master of the crossroads and he's the master of the messages, okay? So ask yourself at this time, what messages are you getting? What roads are you at? Are you at a place where your roads need to open? Are you at a place where your roads need to close, okay? Because Papa Legba in this card, as you can see, is well used. This is why I need to get new cards. Papa Legba is a newly initiated elder here who has a new sense of his power. And at this point, he carries both energies of the pure fool and the enlightened fool. The pure fool being someone who's very green, very naive. The enlightened fool is someone who's gone through enough experience now to know better. Now, in certain parts of our journey, maybe right now at the part of your journey that you're at, you might carry both traits of both of them, or you might just be one or the other. Regardless, I feel it's both, mainly because every part of your journey is going to require a new understanding, new learning, because we're always supposed to be students as much as we are teachers, okay? So ask yourself now at this point in your journey, as roads are opening, some are closing, just you being at the crossroads in general, at a new point of initiation on your journey, how much of you is really green and open to new learning, and how much of you now knows better on past experiences that you are going to be more well prepared. The second card that I got is Yemaya. She's reversed. She's the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles talks really about a lot of blessings and things for your life bringing to fruition. So ask yourself, based on the first card, which is Legba la Flambeau, a newly initiated elder flexing his power. How can you flex your power now to no longer block your blessings, no longer block what you want to bring to fruition? Because she is very pregnant, and because she's dark, I always get a sense of, you know, your shadow side too. Like sometimes we the best way for us to come into our blessings is to use the struggles or find purpose in our pain. That's oftentimes what opportunity in our life is bred from. It's bred from our struggles. It's bred from the pain, that we have to become resilient and we have to really flex our power to get out of the situation. So now that you are at a crossroads, how are you going to make your experiences applicable to now bringing what you want to fruition and no longer block your blessings? How are you going to stay fresh and stay open to new experiences and learning, but not burn yourself, okay? Because there's a lot of sense of burning in this reading, okay? The third card is Petra Unsi. Very passionate, fiery person, enthusiastic, holding on to what they want for dear life. It's like, I gotta get it. I gotta go get it. I got to. Enthusiasm, passion. This really ties into the reading this morning that I had for the collective, saying, you know, never let your passion override your rationality. Never put yourself in a situation where you make high-risk decisions based on instant gratification. That's kind of this card too as well, like flexing your power in a way that you don't get yourself in a compromised position and block your blessings. It's great to have enthusiasm. It's great to have passion. It's great to know what you want. But at some point with the next card, Congo, Shai Laibo, Nuvai, Vuvu, Danai, it's a long-ass fucking card. It's reversed, okay? This is what it looks like upright. It shows a woman who's in all this water. The sun is really small up there in the corner. And she got all this fucking water to bask in, yet she still want to burn herself. Being that it's reversed. Oh shit, hold on. Oh God. Being that the card is reversed, it's saying you don't want to get yourself into situations anymore where you're burnt. You know? So that's really going to require, it's really going to require some long thought and decision, using your mind. Like this is a very, very prevalent theme today and over the week, like using your intuition, using your better judgment, using your logic. You have enough experience now on your journey that you no longer have to burn yourself. You no longer have to block your blessings if you don't want to. It's great to have enthusiasm. It's great to have passion, but we're not going to let our passion burn us, okay? And it's funny because we got the same card, Azaka La Flambeau, from this morning's reading for the collective that I did on my main page. Azaka's a farmer. He's a cultivator. He's good with agriculture. And in his pipe, he has two people in embrace that, you know, this is union. Really think about how you want to cultivate for your life, where you stay in balance. This can be representational of love, but this can even be representational of cultivating balance within yourself. And the way that you become off balance a lot of times is when you allow your ego to override everything else. You allow ego of short-term instant gratification or pride or things like that. You allow that to override, and you allow that to finesse you out of a lot of things. I always say this is like my biggest thing at the end of last year. I am no longer finessing myself. Give me the facts. A lot of people sometimes even finesse themselves with their own power. Like they're like, I got this shit. That's ego. It's like, you know, I got this shit. I'm in control of this shit. And something tells you like, nah, B, I gotta slow down a little bit. And then what happens? You get yourself into this position of the zombie and the hanged man where your will has left you. Sometimes we allow our ego, instant gratification, passion to get us in such a position that we become zombies where our willpower leaves us. Right? Where, you know, like, there's the saying, there's a will, there's a way. How many of you don't actually use your logic when it comes to your will? Right? Because you're too willing. You're too willing. You're too gun-ho on being passionate and what you want, that you get yourself in a situation where you get taken advantage of, right? You get taken advantage of, and you're left where you don't have the will to move yourself. This is a zombie where it's like reaching up for the last bit of will that might be left for them to grab onto. This is the Hanged Man card, and it's actually really funny because I watched my friend Tatiana Tarot's reading for this week, and her last card that she pulled for the week also is the Hanged Man. So now it's like we're really thinking where, don't get yourself in a situation where you're compromised, hanging upside down by one leg as a hanged man, or hang yourself, commit suicide, you know, in a way. Like, so many people commit spiritual suicide oftentimes because their spirit tells them something is not right and they don't listen to it. In the West Indies and the Caribbean, where I come from, there's a saying that we say, my spirit not take you, or my spirit not take the situation. Listen to your spirit. It's great to have passion, but if you have the slightest little inkling that something is off, trust that. Trust that. How many times have we ignored the red flags because we are so gun-ho on the illusion that we see in front of us, that we don't really use our logic and our third eye and our sixth sense to really tap into what is best for us, okay? And a zombie, I kind of want to read you from the book where it talks about the zombie. Okay, and zombie is on page 63, which 6 and 3 is 9, which to me is like an end of a cycle, 9 death endings. And so right now you have to get to a point where you stop putting yourself in a situation that you become the hanged man or you become the zombie. So it talks about sacrifice, okay? The will has left, purpose has fled, nothing moves within the head. See? Logic, sense, common sense, judgment. Nothing moves through stagnant emptiness. See, a lot of y'all get yourself into a situation where you're so gun-ho on passion that you're so infueled with it. It's like a false sense of confidence sometimes that you end up empty in the end because, you know, you put too much, you banked too much on something that was, you know, ego-driven. There are at least 2 distinct forms of the zombie in voodoo, just as there are 2 forms of types of sacrifice within historic tradition. Sacrifice may be enforced or voluntary. See what I'm saying? Sometimes we get peer pressured, enforced, right? This has to do, I said this morning as well. Don't allow yourself to get peer pressured into a situation because you're passionate. Because sometimes we allow ourselves to put ourselves in situations where we feel something for other people, whether it be our friends, family, love, whatever, and we allow them to peer pressure us into situations that we really didn't want to invest in, and then we're compromised, and then we don't have the willpower to get out of them. And then you know, or voluntary, where either way, I think shit's both voluntary. Like, you have free will. Like, nobody can't force you to do something. That means you know, that means you got to fight for your right, honestly. So it's motivation, external or internal. The sacrifice of the type of zombie depicted in this card is enforced, decreed by an external agent, okay? Be very careful what you do with this passion going forward, because you could block your blessings. There's no problem being passionate, but don't burn yourself. Don't play with fire. This is the message. This is in the air. Because if you go to my page, any of you that don't follow me on Instagram, go to the Trap Witch. This is literally this morning's reading, but in deeper form. This is an aspect of transgression par excellence. The victim helplessly witnessed his witnesses his or her own death and then continues to live that death. Don't get yourselves into situations that compromises you, and then you have to deal with the cycle of the karma that puts you into that situation. It really has to do with doing things with good intent, doing things from a really deep, heartfelt position, but also know that your heart and your mind go hand in hand. So it's, you know, sometimes you had a good how do you say, you try to go into it with goodness, but it's like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And so sometimes, you know, I always say I've met a lot of people who had good intentions, but their execution was bullshit. And so that's what you don't have to get sold on. Don't get sold on intentions at times, because people can have all the best intentions, but if you have the feeling, the gut feeling that tells you that they don't have to see it through and they're rushing it, then you don't got to get caught up in that. You have the right to say no. You have the right to say, let's take our time. Let's not block our blessings, rushing into things, trying to cultivate things that are based not on the facts, that are not based on our better intuition. Okay? So it says, the zombie's mouth has been sewn shut using a snake as the thread, shutting the zombie off from the healing power of naming. The card's attributes include a form of sacrifice that is externally motivated. To sacrifice is to literally sanctify, make sacred. What is made sacred by the zombie? Perhaps it is death and the will itself, which the zombie sanctifies in perverse reflection. The shape of the zombie is cast not in light or shadow, it is outcast. Questions of will and the questioning of will cause resolve to decay and failure of the spirit and or body. Willpower. Really take into consideration in this new moon energy, okay? Because Virgo is associated with Mercury, and Mercury is communication. So how do you use your willpower to communicate your thoughts and your logic and your ideas, okay? Sometimes when we rush into things, we don't communicate properly to the universe what it is that we want. So when we rush, the universe sends us back a whole bunch of rushed, unfulfilled, unresolved bullshit. You don't need to do that. You really need to use your willpower now to have discipline, to use your enthusiasm and your passion responsibly, take accountability, especially when it comes to love, business, friendships, anything in your life, even when it comes to yourself. Even when it comes to yourself. Every decision that you make now, make it in a way that it's important that you communicate to the universe what you're really about and what you really want. You don't want to make decisions on the by the fly or the seat of your pants that are impulsive, and then you get yourself in a situation where you're lacking willpower to get yourself out of it, okay? Let's go ahead and pull a card from the Fairy Tale Tarot to tie this reading together. What is the message to tie this reading together? Seeker of Crystals. And I'm not too familiar with these cards, but it shows a lion. It's really funny. There's a lion walking down a road and he's holding his tail in his hand, which is very like a not, it's not a very becoming position of what we know a lion to be in. It, like these birds are trying to put a flower crown on him. This is a really weird card. I feel like it talks about, this is my better guess before I open the book. For me, it's saying don't put yourself in a compromised position where you have to carry your tail in your hand because you didn't use your better intuition to bring you what you needed. That's my guess, okay? But let's see what it says in the book. Seeker of Crystals. Seeker of Crystals. Seeker of Crystals. Seeker of Crystals, the Cowardly Lion. Page 273. 2 and 7 is 9. 9 and 3 is 12. 1 and 2 is 3. So this is being at the crossroads. 273. The Cowardly Lion. 273. Seeker of Crystals, the Cowardly Lion. We are all learning about the tremendous amount of courage required to face obstacles along the path of life. As we travel into the future, let us remember the story of the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy finds him in the woods seemingly very defensive and self-assured. When the lion's scary tactics don't work, he is confronted with his own fears and vulnerabilities. He sets off to see the wizard with Dorothy, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow to acquire some courage. As the story unfolds, the lion transforms himself through bravery in order to save Dorothy from the Wicked Witch. As in many fables and fairy tales, his courage and magnificent true self emerge on the journey as he is asked to serve and protect his beloved companions. His early facade is no longer needed as he faces life-threatening situations in which true valor and honor are required. In the Seeker of Crystals card, the Cowardly Lion is traveling on the yellow brick road and receiving a garland of flowers to crown his achievements. There is a strong rapport between this image and the Beauty and the Beast trump card. If both cards do come up in a reading, it is indicative of a major lesson about spiritual empowerment. When the Cowardly Lion appears for you, remember to tap into your hidden strength and power. Sometimes this power must be expressed in a gentle manner. Other times it should be revealed in a fiercely passionate way. The false pride and selfishness that you may project out of fear and doubt are best replaced with an honorable willingness to feel your own pain. Let the inner truth of your radiant soul come shining through. Just like the Cowardly Lion, you will be crowned with a victor's wreath denoting glory and hard-won accomplishments. Okay? So it's funny, this really does tie into, like, you know, making decisions by the seat of your pants, where it's based on fear, anger, aggression, pride, you know, and realizing that that facade is often broken very easily when you put yourself in high-risk situations because of that. And then when you put yourself in these high-risk situations, sometimes the only way to get out of them are to really confront who you are and the willpower that you have within yourself to break free and to be victorious, to stop blocking your blessings. Because you can never achieve real blessings based on falsehood. You can't, okay? So right now it really is like, this does tie into this card too, you know, using tapping into your real hidden strength and power, and it has to be expressed in a more gentle manner. You know, sometimes when we're too enthusiastic, too passionate, like I said, we get burnt. A lion is a very passionate animal, very prideful, very, very, very strong. But at what points do sometimes we allow our strengths to become weaknesses, or we project a false sense of strength when the biggest thing that we can do to allow us to receive what we need is to be vulnerable? Yeah? Yeah. Seeker of Crystals, don't be the lion walking around with a damn tail in your hand. Okay? It's like a sissified, compromised position. Yeah? So I hope this reading sits with you well. I hope you get a lot that you need from it. And yeah. Happy new moon in Virgo. I hope your manifestations come true. I feel like a lot of people's manifestations are coming to fulfillment to now. And if not, then do the work. Unfuck yourself. Okay? Have a blessed, beautiful moon. And I love you all. And I always thank you for the support. Peace.